Despair that accompanied the retirement of Andrew Luck in late August was followed by early season euphoria in Indy. 5-2 were the Indianapolis Colts. A lot of praise for Jacoby Brissett, and then something happened. And it very well may be MCL injury against the Steelers, never quite the same after that, but there is a clear sense of ambivalence, Chris Simms, toward Jacoby Brissett now. Darius Leonard, the great linebacker for the Colts, recently spoke out on Brissett's behalf, saying he doesn't get enough respect. Well, he should take that up with Jim Irsay, the owner of the team, or others in the organization who are making it clear that they are looking elsewhere to upgrade at the position. And I don't think anyone believes they shouldn't. Other than Darius Leonard.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, again, this goes back to, what we're even hearing with the 49ers players and Jimmy Garoppolo and all that. Of course, hey, yeah, the guys in the locker room at that time are going to support the guy in the locker room. I mean, that's who they know. They have a personal relationship. So I would expect a player in Indianapolis to say that. But, yeah, the facts of the matter are, I don't agree with Darius Leonard. You could argue that before the knee injury. I mean, before the knee injury, I said he was a top 10 quarterback in the league at that point. I was like, man, he's right there around the top 10. He's playing great. Was great in some big clutch moments. Was making some great plays. But man, after the knee injury, it just fell apart. And it's not even not necessarily all just it was mental, it was physical, it was everything. And like I told you earlier in the week, Mike, I was told by somebody that I really trust in the business that just said there's no way Jacoby Brissett will not be the starting quarterback with the Indianapolis Colts next year. He might be on their roster, but they are going to look to get somebody else in there to be the guy in Indianapolis.
Yeah, and I think how much is paid to the next guy is going to show whether or not Brissett's got a chance to compete or whether he's even got a chance to stick around. I mean, he's a guy who get unloaded. He's got a guaranteed roster bonus north of $8 million, almost $9 million, salary of $6 million and change on top of it. They may be stuck with him unless they can trade him somewhere. But, if it's a Nick Foles, we talked yesterday about the possibility of Foles being traded to Indy. Foles is around $15-16 million in compensation. You could keep both guys in theory.
Yeah.
But if they go out and make a play for somebody at $25 million or more, I think that tells you, number one, that guy's clearly the starter, and number two, Brissett's got to worry about getting shipped out of town altogether.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if they get somebody with an Andy Dalton, Nick Foles type contract, then Jacoby Brissett, I do think, has a good chance to what you're saying, to be on the roster and be that backup quarterback, which, I think is probably where the Colts think he is right now. They probably think he's a really high-end backup quarterback. But if it's like Phillip Rivers, which we've heard that conversation a lot as well, right? If he comes in and then signs, to what you're saying, a $25, $28 million contract, yeah, he's going to be the guy. And then I would think Jacoby Brissett will be on the trade block, and who the hell knows? Maybe he ends up back in New England too. I mean, we certainly know there's going to be teams that are either looking for a bridge quarterback or even looking for a high-end backup quarterback in case, their other quarterback they have that they have an issue with right now he can come in and play there. He could be a backup to Tyrod Taylor with the Chargers. He could do any of that. So there's so many moving parts here with this conversation.
And think about the phases of quarterback free agency this year. We're going to have phase one, where the land rush happens for the big names. Then we're going to have phase two, the guys who are left over after the big money is spent and the guys who are supplanted by the fact that their team has gone out and found a new quarterback like Jacoby Brissett will be. Then we've got that period after everything kind of slows down entirely and teams are awaiting the draft. That's when they make contingency plans for guys they will pursue if they don't get who they want during the draft. And we've seen trades happen after a round one. If there's a guy you want in round one and you don't get him, what do you do the next morning? You make a trade for a guy, whether it's a quarterback or some other position. So there's going to be a lot of different moving parts here, and it's going to start the 18th of March, and it's going to continue into May, Chris, and maybe beyond, because, there's so many quarterbacks. Now, this is a topic for another segment or another day.
Right.
At some point, the league can justifiably talk about expanding because it's not as dire as it was just a few years ago. There's a lot of quarterbacks to go around.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.